This is Last Call Fantasy Football, Episode 2, Season 2, 2025. Even though...
Classy.
What? What is classy?
Well, just starting over, you know what I mean?
What do
You
mean
probably
starting?
just forgot what episode we're on in general.
No, Episode 2, I would say, except we haven't released the draft reactions episode yet, but it's coming. It was a beast of a video. And if you make it to the end...
It'll be out before this one's posted.
Time travel. I don't know, man. But we recorded our draft live reactions. If you're one of our few followers on Instagram, you might have seen my initial reactions to drafting future Defensive Player of the Year, Jahdae Barron, who Justin butchered spelling his name on the Instagram post, forcing me to fix it. Oh, yeah. Absolutely botched. And also, I guess, okay, so I was looking at the posts, and you did start, bench, cut on, like, I don't know, it was like Bo Nix, Herbert, Jaden Daniels, or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you mean to put 2 T's on cut? Or do your eyeballs not work when you post these things?
Did.
You meant to put 2 T's on cut?
That's how you spell cut, right?
Jesus Christ. Well, no one's taking advice from us at this point anymore. No, it's not how you spell cut.
Are you sure there's not like 2 spellings of cut?
No. Cut, like...
Are you positive?
Cut. You do not... Going cut the grass. C-U-T-T, the grass? So you did mean to do it. You just meant to do it wrong.
Yes.
Bro. All right. Well, if you're curious what we're talking about, slide over to the Instagram and to the comic style keep trade cut or start bench cut. You'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, let's get into the show. Episode 2, Season 2 in 2025 of Last Call Fantasy Football.
Bro, okay. Cut. Sorry, you were having a good spiel there, but I just couldn't wait. Cut, C-U-T-T, is how the word was originally spelled, but over time we shortened it to C-U-T.
Okay. Are you fluent in Old English?
I'm just saying, that is
Last
true.
Call Fantasy Football, we're going to cut, bench,
it says it's an
start
obsolete spelling of the verb cut.
It says it's an accurate spelling.
Meaning to separate or divide something with a sharp object.
It says it's an accurate spelling.
And that's also how they still use it in golf. When you're in the cut.
Because it's 1542 now. I'll let everyone else decide the clarity on that one. But it's a great way to start the show. I love making fun of you to start the show. As I have been perusing the Instagram more and more. So we want to try and be better. And I have some, we will discuss, but I have some ideas on what can help us grow and help us look more professional, look better as our posts continue to do okay. They're doing okay. The reels are
doing a lot better than our YouTube videos. So.
For sure. Sadly. But, one step at a time. So let's get this thing going. Today, we have our post-draft initial reactions. If anything at the top of our head pops up, we can run through that. But essentially, there's some players that I picked out that I'm not nearly as high on as consensus or what ADP is saying right now, which is still driving me absolutely insane that Sleeper has not updated their ADP post-draft.
Yeah, even in our rookie draft, it was still not really right.
I don't. I think that's crazy. I tried Googling it. It makes no sense. The most popular, like, up-to-date fantasy football app doesn't have... I mean, we're, 2 weeks past the draft? And they still got Ashton Denty going in the 4th round? like, if there's one player I'm higher on than that consensus, it would be Ashton Denty. But point being, these players I'm slightly not in on as much as the rest of the world, so to speak. And then Justin's going to run through some winners and losers of the offseason so far. Granted, we still have waves of free agents after this, so things can change. But I think post-draft is the perfect time.
There's not too many that are like bombshells.
There's quite a few older offensive pieces that are still in the wind, like Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen.
Is Amari Cooper?
Elijah Moore. Actually, Elijah Moore just signed somewhere. Where did he sign? He just signed somewhere.
Elijah Moore signed with
Seahawks? Is it? No. Hold on. Pause. Let's see. Where he plays for the Bills. Okay. Signed with the Bills.
Okay. That's what I was going to say, but I was like, that sucks.
Yeah. The Bills, they're just reload. They're doing the same thing as they did last year, just with different names of people on the roster.
What, did you hear their GM?
Oh, I heard him go on his rant saying, like, everyone's bitching we didn't take receivers, and now they're bitching that we took whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're built that way,
Well, he was saying, we have a great receiving core. He's like, we have full, trust in these young guys we brought in last year.
Yeah.
And we're going to let them develop and see what they can do this year. We need to grow in other areas of the football team. It's not all about receivers. So
yeah, so
it's pretty nice for Keon Coleman going forward. It's like, hey, I mean, he didn't have a great rookie season, but honestly, if you look back,
if he didn't
it's
get
honestly
hurt,
pretty close to what Marv did.
I mean, I don't know if the numbers were exactly the same, but also, Coleman missed a ton of time.
Yeah. I don't know, a ton of time. I mean, maybe 6 games.
That's a ton of time.
That's a lot, yeah. That is a lot.
Let's see what the Fantasy Pros have to say. So, 556 yards to 885. He had 4 touchdowns to 8. But how many games played? Yeah, he played in 13 games. So he did miss. Well, he missed 4 games, which Marv played.
Marv
all
missed
17.
one.
No, he played all 17.
Oh, really?
So per game, less than 3 points difference, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, it wasn't like there's no hope, and the fact that they're going to give him a full shot, they didn't bring in anybody. They have full faith in him. It's good to see.
Yeah. So we've gone through the Buffalo Bills hour as our thoughts in football brains are jogged and just spouting things off, because unless we're doing this, I don't get to talk football to a bunch of people nowadays. It's just not how my life is shaped out. So I got to spout it all now when we get to do this. So
that's why we made the show.
Exactly. God bless. Last call fans.
Let's get into this trade I sent you.
Okay. Oh, you want to start this off? All right.
Yeah.
So Justin sent me a trade in
right?
our Dynasty League. So we just finished off our rookie draft. Ashton Genty belongs to yours truly. And I'm looking to offload some depth. I just put it out there to the league. So let's see what this nonsense trade is. I'll share my screen. Let's look at it. See, I knew that stupid look on your face. It was going to... Okay, let's see. Can I zoom in on this for the video? I mean, if you really want to see it, you can zoom in. So I would receive Caleb Johnson and next year's first for Ashton Genty. For context, I traded away Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins and my second-round pick for Ashton Genty and Jameson Williams. So this is less value than what I traded to get him.
That's not true. You don't know what the first-round pick could be next year.
I mean, it's true. And your team is garbage, so I could get the first overall pick again. But no.
Exactly.
But no. No. I guess this will just give me opportunity to go on my Caleb Johnson spiel. I do think he is going to be good. I just don't think he is going to have that like ultimate upside. Like so if we're taking this trade for example, it would just be Ashton Genty, Caleb Johnson, 2 running backs, and then a first round pick next year. I mean, that pick could potentially be Ashton Genty, or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, essentially, you could get the next Ashton Genty plus a solid running back.
Yeah, but not for this year. I don't know. It's just I'm curious what other people view because again, we're relatively new to Dynasty as well, so I'm curious where people.
It's probably not fair.
What?
I mean, I don't think it's like a terrible trade, but like I don't think anybody would do what I just sent you.
No, probably not. But that's just like my initial reaction. But who knows? I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
I kind of did that as a joke.
I figured as soon as I mentioned his name, I see your stupid face. But I figured, or it wouldn't shock me if someone needed 4 first-round picks for Genty. But it would also shock me if like 2 and a player got it done, or like it wouldn't shock me. So I don't know. I don't know how to value first-round rookie picks. Is what I'm saying because we've only had.
I mean, what if instead of Caleb Johnson, it was Jonathan Taylor?
I mean, it's just tough when maybe I'm just going to be a bad dynasty manager and I'm just never going to give up and rebuild and do whatever.
I feel like it's hard to give up the people that, especially like this is your first rookie pick.
Right.
It's hard to give, like that's your baby now. Like you're not going to give him up for anything.
Well, I mean, I'm saying it would have to be more than just picks. I would need players to play.
Would you give him up for Saquon straight up?
Probably not. No, 100% no. I mean, Genty's 21 years old. Barkley's 26. He just had the season of a lifetime. Is it ever going to get to that again? I mean, probably, maybe, But again, it's more so the fun of it. Now I get to see what is in the Christmas present. I get to see what this beautiful wrapped present has in store for me.
I sent a trade to this K. Nelson guy in our league. And I offered him both my first round picks next year, Dalton Kincaid, and Jonathan Taylor for Brock Bowers and Judkins.
What? He didn't take that for Bowers and Judkins?
He said, hell no.
Bowers and Judkins, 2 firsts. I mean...
And Kincaid.
Yeah. And then, and you said Jonathan Taylor too.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, 2 firsts.
Kincaid. I mean, Kincaid doesn't really do any. I mean, at least you'll have a start.
That was just because I was taking his tight end.
Right. Yeah. Right. I would have been intrigued. I mean, Judkins. It just. I mean,
he said he would do Njoku instead, and I was like, no thanks.
No. I don't know, but I guess that just shows his value of Bowers. You would probably need to give him 3 first-round picks. And a player.
I mean, obviously he's untouchable.
Yeah.
That pick, I thought that trade was like more than fair.
I mean, like again, I don't know how to value these first round rookie picks because think of it like
I'm just saying if you do it straight up. Okay, yeah, last year.
Well, I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying Brock Bowers. Okay, think about this. Basically, Jonathan Taylor and a first round pick for Brock Bowers, and you're talking about a first round pick in Kincaid for Judkins.
Bowers, first round pick. Yeah, it's just the thing with tight ends, and if you've watched any of these episodes at all, or if you just know me, I love having a top 3 tight end. They are a position that I don't want to worry about it. I just want to put them in my lineup forget about it because it's such a positional advantage. So, with that being said, having Bowers for his entire career at this point, basically locking in, saying he's never leaving my lineup except for a bye week and never having to worry about it that's worth something in my soul. So I get it,
Yeah,
but when
and that's why I tried to go after him because I was like, if I could, I was like, I'll pretty much give up anything for him.
Yeah, well, it's different. I will say it's different in our dynasty league because you do only have one tight end spot, and we have 3 flex that could be tight end, wide receiver, running back. So they're not 1 out of 10 starters that you have that is going to make that one. You know, there's more variance. See what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'd be curious to see how going forward throughout the years. Like I said, this is our first dynasty league, and we just had our first rookie draft. And what I was going to say, as far as last year, this player that Justin's trying to trade with, he inherited the team, but the guy who drafted a draft before him, which was our startup last year, with every single one of his startup picks, he took rookies, with a few after a while. So
his team is so nasty.
So he was able to collect Brock Bowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, basically all the elites he took with his first 5 picks, and they all hit. So now he has a dynasty roster full of the next best thing, and will probably be, he for sure has the best team in the league at this point. And they were all rookies, so they're young. So in that instance, getting those first round rookie picks, they would have been insane. You know, like Brian Thomas Jr. was taken with like the 10th pick in rookie drafts last year. So how should you value a first round rookie pick like a Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison? Or should you value it like this year? It was I don't know, Emeka Egbuka at the back of the first, which could be. I mean, he hasn't played yet. No idea.
Last year you had 3 wide receivers that were just like locked and loaded. Would be the first pick of any draft aside from Marvin.
Oh, he's got Rome Odunze as well.
So it's like.
So that point being, but what if next year's draft is terrible?
And now he just reloaded. He also has Nico Collins, and he just reloaded. In this rookie draft, he got Henderson, Judkins
with me,
and Travis Hunter.
So last year, the guy who we rehomed his team somehow ended up in last place and got the first overall pick. So he would have had Genty as well. And so I traded my 2 firsts or whatever and moved up. So now he's got depth at a high-end running back class. So he's able to grab 2 foreseeable stars.
Well, Gio screwed us by accidentally doing the wrong trade because he gave him another first-round pick.
Well, there's that too. So I don't know. We're learning as we go. This is our development as we spew out our circumstances and what has happened to us, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for the year. But without further ado, it's last call. Oh yeah. Oh, let's get this party started. So, I guess I'll go first. We just finished our draft. Are you in or out? I'm going to ask you this question. These are already people you know I'm out on based off of ADP and post-draft situation, where they're at. Number 1 is Jackson Smith and Jigba.
You're in or out on that?
These are all people I'm out.
Wait, am I guessing?
No. I was just.
You only did out?
If you want to look back at the text that you sent me, it says out. It says do 5 people that you're out on or less high on than consensus is what the text said.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to have some differing opinions on this as we do most of the time. But
I like Jackson Smith this year.
I do like him this year. However, in current mocks, he's going in the middle to the beginning of the second round. And it's purely based on ADP. So if you go any other position besides wide receiver in the first round, you would have to take JSN as your wide receiver one. And that if you feel that confident, like fine, that's cool and all. I wouldn't want him to be anything other than wide receiver two.
It's not going to stay that way.
Well, I looked at. I mean,
just look at the running backs that you're shocked at not being in the first round. Well, they're all moving up eventually.
I get that, but it's not going to be. Whoa, that was crazy. Did you hear that? Or is it just me? So I got the mock draft. I just did pulled up. Jackson Smith and Jigba went above AJ Brown, T Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson, McLaurin, Adams. Like as far as receivers go, and yes,
I definitely would not draft him over probably most of those guys that you just mentioned.
Correct, and that's my problem.
It's not necessarily. Adams, I wouldn't take him over McLaurin.
It's not necessarily players like that. His 80, like he'll move to the back of the second round. It's more so position based. He's the current. He was drafted as the wide receiver 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is to me his ceiling, is wide receiver 10.
And yeah, but I will say, since the ADP hasn't changed, do you think that those two players specifically, like everybody thought the Commanders would add somebody in the draft, and they didn't really. So McLaurin's good for another year. And the same thing with Adams. As far as ADP goes from last season, we thought he'd be on the Jets with Aaron Rodgers versus now he's
this has been updated since then. That it doesn't still have that. It's just pre-draft ADP is what this is, and I'm just looking position wise and where the drop off is. I still think JSN is a great player. He's going to be good, but they added Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is not a flaming pile of turds. Is he probably what he was? No, but I just think that the team is going to focus more on the run game. He's not going to get absolutely everything, which at a certain point last year, he wasn't even that good. I was looking at his stats earlier today. Yes, it took him a while to get going, and it was at the bye week. He had 30 points, standard fantasy points, week, I think it was 6, right? Right before the bye week. Hit the bye week, or he was the wide receiver 1 that week. And then he came back with like 18 points. And from that point on, he averaged probably 70-ish yards per game. And that was his breakout. And there was never a game where I was like, oh, this guy's a future superstar, stats-wise and command of the team. I'm just saying where he's going right now is at his ceiling to me, and I view him more as a wide receiver 2. He's going at – everyone saw the second half, like, transcendence and immediately expects it to transfer over, and I'm just not buying it at that cost.
I think that he has the potential to be one of the dudes. I think the ADP jump that you're seeing is mostly the team got rid of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett this year.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he has all those targets have to go to him and Kupp.
Yeah, which is why I would draft him for sure. I would love to have him on my team. It's just as wide receiver 10, like I just don't know if that can be consistent enough and worth. Those first 4 picks in fantasy are such cornerstone pieces for you that I want to be comfortable as the wide receiver 1 I take, that I'm just going to plug him in and forget about it. You know, if you're drafting a receiver within the first 2 rounds, whatever.
He feels very similar to me as like drafting Garrett Wilson. Mm-hmm. Which I think I'm. But I mean,
even then, Garrett Wilson went 4 receivers after him, just exactly one round later in the third.
See, and I think I'd rather have Garrett Wilson.
Take Garrett Wilson in the third, and Jackson Smith and Jigba in the second. That's what I'm saying. I don't think the gap is that crazy where it's worth the ADP jump.
We've already talked about this, but you're kind of in on I'm kind of in on Justin Fields with the Jets.
I can see Garrett Wilson being finally worth it this year only because he doesn't have to be your first and or first borderline second round pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. I'm more in than I thought I was going to be only because Garrett Wilson was actually good last year, but
Justin Fields also looks like he's transforming. Like from the videos, he looks like he's put on a bunch of like good weight, as in like he looks like he's bulked up. And what I'm expecting is for him to have focused more on his passing and be more of a pocket quarterback this year. I mean,
I think
I,
he's
I
in
guess
a
that's the goal
good.
of every quarterback, but
I would
he
say
was never that far off, in my opinion.
I would say he's in a good situation. Going to the Jets is never a good situation, but they have loaded this offensive line. They drafted the best tackle at their sixth pick in the draft. They already have all pros coming back. Free agency has been a blessing. Hopefully, Brees Hall can help with some relief and a decent. I mean, you got a decent back. Maybe give your new fresh start quarterback some relief. You got Garrett Wilson. The rest of the receiving corps is kind of trash. So, um,
Kind of
Garrett Wilson
reminds me
is.
of Geno Smith, where most of his career, like early, he was just on shitty teams, but he never looked shitty playing.
Yeah, he
Like
had
I
his
never
own
saw
issues, but
Justin
you saw the
Fields and been
potential.
like, "Oh, he's terrible." Like I feel like he's always just mediocre,
He
but then he
had
had high upside.
he had accuracy issues, and I mean, you go to the Bears again, you're just doomed. So
Yeah.
that organization at the time was just.
I'm actually very surprised Mitch Trubisky never got a second shot.
I mean, sometimes you just get it wrong, and you draft Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes you
Well,
just
I'm
do
saying
it.
I think Mitch got the shaft.
Well, I think it might have been his own doing as we're getting off topic here. But real quick about Trubisky, he
Oh, did
took
he do some shit?
his first contract he took was the backup to Josh Allen in the Bills. So he basically said, "I am 100% cool with
You
being a
think that's what
backup
it is?
quarterback." Well, I mean, he didn't. To
Because I
me,
remember he balled out in preseason.
well, right, but okay. Even more credit to my point. If you know you're good, you know you can beat out someone. Go to a team where you have a shot at beating out someone. Don't sign with the Bills. It's like, I mean, like, what? I want to be the backup to Mahomes. They will stretcher him out onto that field before you get to start.
I don't think it's a terrible play. It depends on what kind of mindset you go into. I think if he went into the with the mindset of like, hey, this quarterback went from being dog shit to really good. I can go to this team for 2 years, learn from him,
I
and then
guess.
get a second shot.
I guess, but then you're already putting out, like, you've already self-declared yourself a backup, a guaranteed backup. Like, for example, if he would have went last year to, I don't know, who was a quarterback needy, like a QB competition. If you would have went to like the Patriots or something, which again,
Yeah,
trash. Well, oh no, they drafted May last year. Point
that would have been
being,
a great spot for him.
point being, go somewhere where you have a chance to beat out someone, make some noise. Maybe gone to the Giants and dealt with,
If he went to Vikings, that would have been kind of sick.
yeah, it's somewhere where you got a chance. You just don't go. Currently, if you are an aspiring quarterback in the NFL, and put this out there, PSA, all aspiring
Yeah, they're
quarterbacks.
watching.
Yep. Don't grab the extra million to go to the Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs,
Bills,
Bills,
Colts.
Colts. Nope, not the Colts. You can go to the Colts. See, that's what I'm talking about. Daniel Jones made that move
Yeah.
because he probably saw some blood in the water, and he's like, "Look, I could beat this kid." That's what Mitch Trubisky should have done. So, mic drop on the Mitch Trubisky hour. So that was my first out, and this is all tentative, relative right now because it's right now at cost.
All right.
Where I am with these people, these players. So number 2, someone it's kind of a cop out. It's not a cop out, but it's the exact same reasoning as with Jackson Smith and Jigba, like to a T. Talk about 3 picks, 3 receivers later. It's Ladd McConkey.
Nah, you're wrong.
All right. I mean, I'm prepared to be wrong, but
I think he's going pretty late.
He's went 3. It went JSN, AJ Brown, T Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey. That's where he went. He went the 2nd pick in the 3rd round. Ladd McConkey is boosted.
Who's behind him?
Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Chris Olave, or DJ Moore, Rashee Rice, Marvin Harrison, Chris Olave. And then Jaden Waddle.
The only player that I would put over him.
I would take all of those other 3rd round receivers over McConkey right now. And that's Wilson, McLaurin, Adams, Evans.
I wouldn't take. Maybe Evans would be. I wouldn't take McLaurin, surprisingly. I would take McConkey over Lauren. No, McLaurin. Here's the thing. McLaurin had an insane amount of touchdowns last season, and typically that's not a sticky stat. But at the same time, I will say he's always had an eye for the end zone, and that's honestly how they kind of used him. Like anytime they got in the red zone, that's what Daniels was trying to do. Was look for McLaurin because he can make those acrobatic catches.
Yeah.
So I will say I do think he'll keep it up. I don't think I've seen a lot of people saying that.
So what does McLaurin?
I've seen a lot of people low on him.
I didn't say McLaurin, bro. I'm saying you said you would take maybe Evans, and then proceeded to say how McLaurin was going to be great.
Okay. I was just saying that, like, yeah, maybe McLaurin too.
I'd still take Adams.
Dude, look, McConkey had a breakout rookie season. He had a better rookie season than Marvin Harrison.
Well, yeah,
better rookie season. He had the best rookie season of any rookie wide receiver last year.
No, you're high. Go talk to Brian Thomas or Malik Neighbors.
Okay, sorry. He definitely had a better rookie season than Malik Neighbors.
I don't know about that.
I guarantee it.
Let's see.
Brian Thomas Jr.
I'll put it up on the screen. Let's see.
I bet you he's close to Brian Thomas Jr.
Let's see. Wait, 2024. Wait, is this year? Yeah, game log.
That was last year.
Oh, these are projections. Yeah, so last year he had 1,149 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Which is crazy for a rookie.
Yeah, no, it's great. He had a great year. Great year. And then who else did we say?
I don't think Neighbors had 1,000 yards.
Malik Neighbors had 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns in 16 games, and McConkey played 16 games. So they had very similar finishes. Wait, no, there's no way Neighbors only missed 1 game. Hold on. Missed more than that. With 1 less game, he finished with better stats. And just different player archetype, all that stuff. That's all I'm just trying to say is, tell me right now you'll take McConkey over Malik Neighbors then.
Brian Thomas Jr. was also similar. He just had more touchdowns. Anyways.
He also had Mac Jones at quarterback.
I wouldn't take McConkey over Neighbors, but I think he should be in the conversation right next to him.
Yeah,
he's not a fan. Like he's not flashy, but I feel like it's a trap. It's the same trap we fell in with Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra had an insane rookie season. And we're like, yeah, but he kind of plays like Michael Thomas, and that only worked for Michael Thomas, so we're out. And everybody was out, and then he did it again. And then we still said, yeah, but Jameson Williams is going to take over probably, blah, 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 blah. And they did it again. And it's like, I feel like McConkey is one of those players where he's just good. Just trust it. Yeah. That's my opinion.
No, I get it. And it's purely, it goes back to this metric is what I look at. Is in the third round, second pick in the third round. And this is the 10-man mock draft because we do everything 10-man. And then he still goes in the third round. So in a 12-man league or bigger, he's a second-round pick. And so that, to me, says I have to plug him in, and I will play him every single week at wide receiver. How confident are you going into the season being like, that's my guy? It's just...
I'd be fine.
I just think...
But again, though, he is probably going to fall to probably the back of the second, early third, in my opinion.
That's exactly where he's at right now.
Or sorry, then he's going to fall. A lot of these receivers are going to fall another round further than where they're at because you're going to have players like Joe Mixon, Ashton Janty, Trevion Henderson, Judkins, Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
There's a Chris McCaffrey. He's going to skyrocket back up there eventually. There's a lot of running backs who are going to end up being in the first and second round.
Which is very true. Like in here, Trayvon Henderson went in the 12th round. That's not going to happen. Who else was in here that went crazy stupid?
And Rashee Rice is even going pretty late, isn't he? Like there's a lot of wide receivers who are going to move up too.
Well, I mean, Rashee Rice was the 4th round. So I think that's pretty fair. I almost put him on this list if you want a bonus. Yeah. The 4th round, I'm concerned with his situation. But all right, so someone who isn't copy paste the same reason I'm out. I'm out at this point in time on George Pickens.
I agree.
I figured you would agree. I just was never super impressed with his skill set. Not like his skill set. Like he's an acrobatic, fun guy to watch. He's like a one-trick pony to me. He feels like he has a flashy play, and then the attitude problems. I don't think he's a good pro, and so I don't think that the Steelers paid DK Metcalf, who is now I think the 3rd highest paid receiver in the NFL, to come there and be their one. When they drafted Pickens to be that, and for a couple years now, he was. Deontay Johnson, he came in with him, and Pickens said, I'm going to take your spot. And then, so if you can't hold on to that, when a team like the Steelers trades for a wide receiver and pays that kind of money, you must really not be it to have to deal with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just think that you're right about. I don't think that he is a great wide receiver as a whole, and that was like one of his knocks coming out of college. I'm pretty sure was that he was
at Georgia. He was just a freak athlete, and
I think that's all he is. He's a freak athlete, and in college, he just relied on his freak athleticism to get him production. But you can't do that in the NFL. Everybody's a freak athlete.
All right, so tell me this: so George Pickens or Chris Godwin?
George Pickens.
Did you take George Pickens over Chris Godwin? Are you high?
No, I'm out on Godwin.
You're out on Godwin? That's crazy.
I think he's on my do not touch list.
I would take Godwin.
I was actually coming into the season. I was pretty high on him until they drafted Igbuka.
And we'll have the Godwin.
I have him on later, so we'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so Pickens or Judy?
Judy.
Pickens or Xavier Worthy?
Xavier Worthy.
Pickens or Ayuk? Which
that one is tough because
honestly, I don't even know why Ayuk is even going this high. I mean, it's 8th round, which to most people might not seem that high, but he's not going to play half the year. So why are we drafting him in the 8th round?
Why is he going to play half the year?
He's still on that ACL. He tore his ACL in like week 8. So he's not going to play to start the year. He's going to start on the pup.
ACL doesn't take as long to heal as I think you're thinking Achilles.
Well, a month
ACL
ago,
takes like 6 months.
I mean, it's great news for Brandon Ayuk. A month ago, the latest news on Brandon Ayuk is he's expected to remain with the 49ers per John Lynch, 49ers GM. um,
ACL is like a 6-month recovery.
what did he say? He's like, we love Brandon Ayuk as a football player. We did when we drafted him. We're excited to move forward with him. He will continue to rehab from his torn ACL this offseason. So, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Rashee Rice had a similar injury.
Yeah, that's why I'm also relatively out.
Well, Rashee Rice. Well, Patrick Mahomes just said that Rashee Rice is full speed running routes in practice right now.
And obviously, like I said, this will change as final injury reports and throughout the rest of the offseason comes. But Pickens or Odunze?
Odunze.
Pickens or Khalil Shakir?
Shakir.
Pickens or Calvin Ridley?
Ridley.
Pickens or Deebo Samuel?
Deebo.
Pickens or Jaden Reed?
Pickens.
Mind you, all but one of those was 3 rounds later than George Pickens. Odunze, Ridley, and Shakir were all 3 rounds past where George Pickens was going right now.
I think all 3 of those wide receivers I would much rather have.
I mean, do you take Cooper Kupp over Pickens?
100%.
That's 5 rounds past where he's going. So
I mean, Pickens didn't have DK Metcalf last year and he sucked.
He was the wide receiver 41 last year. Exactly. He only played 14 games, and so he had 900 yards but 3 touchdowns. He
missed 3 games. Most players miss about 2 to 3.
He had 1,140 yards and 5 touchdowns the year prior. Didn't miss a game. And it was just... I mean, he had four less catches this previous year than 2023 and had 240 less yards and then couldn't stay healthy or whatever. I mean, it's just like when Russ was capable of getting the ball, now we have currently Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Tyler Bagent or something like that. Can't remember. But yeah, Tyson. So I'm just out. He's on my do not touch list. I'll let someone else mess with that. Unless things change. Who knows? Also, now to get off
DK Metcalf gets hit by a garbage truck.
That's too soon, man.
What do you mean?
Are you not understanding the correlation of the joke you just made right now? You know what other Steeler player got actually hit by a garbage truck?
I forgot that he was a Steeler. Yeah. No, I meant to make that correlation, but I also forgot that he was a Steeler too.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he wasn't a Steeler when it happened.
Yes, he was. He was drafted to the Steelers.
Oh yeah, he came. No, he's drafted to the Washington.
Yeah. Commanders. But yes, he was a Steeler. Yeah. Crazy stuff over here in the Last Call Fantasy Football. So to get away from wide receivers, and I'll keep this ball rolling, because these were kind of tough. Because I was telling Justin before we hit record that it's tough to see negatives right now in the offseason. A lot of it is everything is potential upside. You don't know is the next best thing. So unfortunately, as I do really enjoy this player, is Bucky Irving.
Oh, what?
Again. Who knows? And so if our understanding, so let me explain. If our understanding is that there's going to be a lot of running backs get pushed up ADP. Currently, Bucky Irving is a running back 6 drafted.
All right, let's do the game.
All right.
Bucky Irving
or Josh Jacobs.
Bucky Irving.
Kyron Williams.
Bucky Irving.
Devon Achane.
Bucky.
Jonathan Taylor. Breece Hall.
Bucky.
Chase Brown.
Bucky.
Christian McCaffrey.
James Cook. James Cook.
Kenneth Walker.
Oh,
Which this is
man. Honestly, yeah, that's a tough one. Uh, Bucky.
all right. Alvin Kamara.
Bucky.
Joe Mixon.
Bucky.
James Conner.
Bucky.
I mean, with that being said, I mean, you're pretty on par. The only ones, I mean, Jonathan Taylor was, right around him. It was Bucky, Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor. And then you said, no, I didn't include Genty, but you said no to Brees Hall, no to Chase Brown, McCaffrey. We're all back to back to back after. James Cook was after that. So that was
no, I said McCaffrey.
Oh, yes. James Cook was after that. Kenneth Walker. And then Alvin Kamara, Chuba Hubbard, Joe Mixon, James Conner. So, all right. So you're pretty on par with ADP, but if that's the case, then you might get. So tell me this, because we're gonna have some ADP updates, obviously. Okay. Genty or Bucky Irving?
Genty.
Amari and Hampton.
I think I would go Bucky there.
Trayvon Henderson.
Bucky.
Quinshon Judkins.
Bucky.
RJ Hampton. Or RJ Harvey.
Bucky. The only rookie I would take over Bucky is Genty, because he's the only one that I think is going to be, for sure.
Okay. I mean, well, if that's the case, then you're right on par with ADP of where you think Bucky should go.
I'll say this. I don't think that Bucky is... I don't think Bucky's a better running back than Kenneth Walker. I don't think Bucky's a better running back than James Cook. I don't think Bucky's better running back than... honestly, a lot of the players that I picked him over, but I think he's going to have a way better opportunity than most players.
See, I almost feel the exact opposite. I feel like Bucky Irving is a better running back, with his elusiveness, his burst, all that. I think it's pure, he's not the biggest guy, so does he get the goal line opportunity? Do you know if they're at the 1 inch line, are they just going to pass it up to Bucky Irving, or are they going to give it to Kenneth Walker to punch it in?
Well, who's Bucky's competition?
Rachaad
Who else
White,
are they going to give it to?
I think has been there.
Rachaad White's tinier than him.
No, he's not. Bro, Bucky Irving is tiny. Bucky Irving is 5'10", 190.
Bro, Rachaad White is a scat back.
No.
Bro, yes he is.
No. Let me see how big Rachaad White is. 6 foot 215. A big boy.
Okay, so they're like the same.
I mean, he's 2 inches and 30 pounds heavier.
Honestly, that just proves but he's taller in almost the same way, so he's smaller.
Like I said, I'm prepared to be wrong. There's just something. He also got hurt quite a bit last year. I don't know if he is durable like that. Again, we're just gonna do this one more time and then I'll move on. The litmus test to where I say Bucky Irving is my running back 1. Am I cool with riding that after 1 season amongst guys who have put together a full body of work? Even last year, Josh Jacobs right after him, Kyron, Jonathan Taylor.
Well, give us the running back where it stops for you. Go down the list and say, the line where Bucky should be.
Oh, okay. So I will take Saquon, Bijan, Gibbs, Henry. I will not take Achane, even though Achane's going ahead of Bucky. Then I would take Josh Jacobs. I would take McCaffrey. I wouldn't do Chase Brown or Brees Hall, but I would do Jonathan Taylor. I would do Kyron. I wouldn't do James Cook. I would do Kenneth Walker. So out of...
See, I feel like that's about where I'm at, though. And we're just opposite with...
But I'm saying I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 running backs just in the first 4 rounds that I put over Bucky. He's going as RB6.
Well, I agree with every running back you just said, other than James Cook or Kenneth Walker.
Um.
Everything you just said, I agreed with, except for James
Okay.
Cook
Well
and
then,
Kenneth
fair.
Walker.
Okay. So my point is that would mean that you would have to be out on Bucky Irving because then
Oh,
you,
you're
you
kidding? Because his ADP.
yeah. And it's only going to get worse because there's going to be Ashton. Well, you said Ashton Genty's the only one, so add Ashton Genty. So he's going to be your RB12 when he's going at RB6.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree. I could be out on him because of his ADP. It's possible.
So again, love the kid, great player. So I'll happily have him as my RB2 if I need to. There's
Yeah,
just not a lot of ones that I want to put my
that's my
foot in the
sentiment.
ground.
I wouldn't necessarily want him as my running back one,
But
but
right now he's going as the RB6. He's a top half RB1.
if I ended up going wide receiver, I would be happy with getting him as my third
The thing is though
option.
is but you could also do Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, which are two you could go in this draft it went CD Lamb, JSN, then you could have taken Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker. Does Bucky have a
Yeah,
spot on that
look,
roster?
I love Kenneth Walker. Jonathan Taylor is always going to go over both of them for me. I think Jonathan Taylor actually has potential to be the running back one, whereas I don't see that for Kenneth Walker or Bucky.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm just saying as far as like does he wouldn't belong on that team, so by proxy that means you would be out because you wouldn't waste that pick
Yeah,
on
that's true.
a running back right there or him specifically. So one more because I'm tired of talking about this, and we're already 50 minutes into this joint. So Chris Olave, obvious reasons. I just
Yeah,
don't. The upside with Tyler Shuck. If now we're gonna get this out of the way, that's how it's pronounced, like with a
it's
CK.
not. It's Joe.
What?
Tyler Show.
I said we're gonna get this out of the way, and it's pronounced Shuck,
Yeah, but I'm
like
not doing that.
shucking corn. Again, stupid
He can go
name.
shuck himself.
I'm gonna disparage this guy one more time. He backed up Justin Herbert in college at
I
Oregon.
know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
He is in the same recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. So, I mean, whatever. The Saints are reeling. He might be fine. Chris Olave will probably be fine. He's not getting drafted. Well, no, he is getting drafted crazy high. He went in the fourth round. I think that's insane when there's guys like, Cortland Sutton, Jameson Williams,
He's
Zay
also
Flowers.
he's one concussion away from being medically retired.
Yeah. And I don't
One.
think the Saints are going to be good. So I'm just out. None needed more. So now that I ranted for almost an hour, what you got for us, Hoss, as far as your winners and losers? I'm assuming, let's just start with Chris Godwin.
No, I'm gonna start with the winners.
We already talked about Chris Godwin, but whatever, go on.
Okay. We can start with the losers if you want. We'll start with Chris Godwin.
Good choice.
Okay, listen. Obviously, I think Chris Godwin, I was really in on him before they drafted Egbuka, and it's not because solely they drafted Egbuka, because I think Baker is good enough to support all three of them to some extent. I think them drafting Egbuka tells us that he's not going to be ready to go week one because they play the same role. And I know they just paid him, but that doesn't mean that they knew. We don't know. There could have been, they could have paid him, and then he could not take his rehab seriously because he already got the bag. And then they're like, okay, now we have to draft Egbuka. There's things that go into it. You know what I mean? Like, they could have paid him. Yeah, they could have paid him back then, but then
I get
now they realized, oh shit.
Like, that's possible, but I feel like the Bucks aren't the type to be like, oh, we paid him. Oh shit, he's not ready. I don't think you invest that kind of money into a guy that's not going to be ready. I view this, and I'm not
The
saying
Bucks
he's
are
not a
also
loser.
loyal to their players to a fault.
They do keep a lot of their drafted guys. They don't let a lot of people walk. But
No,
um, I'm not saying he's not a loser. He definitely is a loser long term. But if we're just talking redraft this next year, I give it. It's a negative for
but
sure.
but
But I don't think it's like he's not untouchable for me now.
would
I
you be
don't see it.
happy to have him as your wide receiver too?
No.
Well, that's where he's going, getting drafted.
I mean, he went he went at the 609 in this mock draft.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's pretty high.
I mean, it's I think he's a good player, but I'm
I
saying,
mean, honestly, would you rather have Igbuka or Chris Godwin?
well, I don't. Igbuka isn't even a relative player on like this ADP. I don't know where he's gonna go.
I'm just saying it. Do you think that
I would rather have Chris Godwin. I think.
Chris Godwin is going to eclipse Igbuka?
Yeah, I view this, and I think it's an uncanny
After
similarity.
3 ACL tears
Listen,
in consecutive seasons.
yeah, I don't view it that crazy. It happened early. He only had what 3 weeks. He tore his ACL like week 3 or
Yeah,
4.
I'm not that concerned that he could be ready to go. My concern is that he doesn't have an ACL
But I don't
at this
think a
point.
team re-signs him to that length of contract if they aren't positive he has an ACL.
I think after watching what the Giants did with Saquon Barkley, I think that they're not as smart as you're giving them credit.
I I just feel like
And the Bucks have never been the greatest organization.
money is a big motivator in like what it
I'm saying
they're
I don't
what
think
the
it's gonna
Bucks
be
view
bad,
of Chris
but
Godwin is. But okay, but I'm just saying he can be your wide receiver 3 in the 6th round at the end of the 6th round. That's 6 picks. You could draft 2 receivers, 2 running backs, a quarterback, and then him be your
who'd you rather have, him or Cooper Kupp?
um probably Cooper Kupp. But I'm
What about
also
George Pickens?
Godwin for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, George Pickens, I'm OUT, but okay. For example, in this mock draft,
Worthy.
it went Pickens, Godwin, Judy. You taking Judy over Godwin with whatever quarterback decides to show up in Cleveland?
What? Yeah,
I'm not saying he's like accurately
I would only
priced,
because
but
it's
this
just
is
tough with Godwin
but
because
this is
if
winners or losers. He is a loser. There's no doubt
he is a
about it. Like
loser,
he is
yeah.
a loser. He's not a loser. He's a great guy from all I hear. I actually seen him in here in Tampa, but he plays the same role as Ibuka, and he's coming off an injury, and there's potential there. I see it very, very, very similarly, and I was going to say this, the uncanny resemblance to the whole JSN situation. You have slot phenom Ohio State wide receiver running back or wide receiver who goes to a team that has a big alpha X receiver Mike Evans slash DK Metcalf and a
Lockett.
established longtime producer Lockett and Chris Godwin. And JSN, they drafted JSN when we didn't think that he was even like. Why
But
are the Seahawks drafting a receiver?
yeah, but to your point, when JSN got to the Seahawks, Lockett was no more.
Yes, he was.
No, the
Lockett,
year that JSN got to the Seahawks, Lockett went down drastically in fantasy production.
I mean, JSN had 628 yards as a rookie.
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't matter what JSN had; it matters what Lockett had in this conversation.
Well, but
Lockett is Godwin.
But Godwin also wasn't in year 12. As like Godwin's not that
What
old.
year is he in?
Let's see.
It's got to be year 9 or 10.
Yeah, probably close. Let's see. Chris Godwin. Dang. Wait, hold on. So he was a rookie in 2017. So is he eight?
Okay,
8
he's
years.
actually younger than I thought.
Who are we talking about? Oh,
Still, that's pretty long.
Lockett. I'm curious what. So there was 2022 was Tyler Lockett's rookie year. Um, or sorry,
Yeah, no shit.
JSN. He had 1,033 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Lockett did.
Yeah. Lockett had a great year. It was 2 years ago. Oh wait, hold on. No, I said this was only JSN's second year. Okay, so I take it back. He didn't. He still had 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was still above JSN, obviously. Not that this is a Egbuka versus Chris Godwin conversation, but 905 as your wide receiver 3, it could be fine.
Yeah, and right. It's not that bad.
And apples to oranges, because I think Chris Godwin's a way better player than Tyler Lockett is, just personally. So I would take him as my wide receiver 3, but he is a loser after the draft.
All right. I guess we'll just continue. Do you want to do one winner, one loser, one winner, one loser, one winner, one loser?
Yeah, sure.
All right. My winner is Rome Dunze. For sure.
That's a crazy take, but go on.
I think that they brought in Burden, but Burden didn't end up getting drafted as highly as we thought he would.
Well, he's like, what, the 35th pick in the draft? 36th? Yeah, it was like the 4th pick in the second round. Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive because I thought that there's no that they were going to take a running back and they were going to take Denver's running back. Yeah, 39th overall pick, 7th pick in the second round.
Okay, well that's higher than I thought. Either way, though, I don't think that.
Not to mention Colston Loveland, the best pass catching tight end in the draft, they took at 10.
Yeah. Okay. Listen. Neither of those players, though, are going to play the role that Rome Odunze is going to play. And I think both of those players are going to be like, they're like a tight end's a tight end. You know, every time you can have a good tight end and a good wide receiver on the same team. I don't think Colston Loveland's going to eat into Rome Odunze. They get rid of Keenan Allen, who, guess how many targets that's vacating alone?
He probably had 110.
121 targets.
Damn.
So now there's 121 targets going somewhere in between two rookies and, now a second-year vet. I'm going to give the edge to the vet. And the wide receiver that was challenging him at his position, at his role in the offense, was Keenan Allen. It's not going to be Luther Burden, and it's not going to be Colston Loveland. They're going to play different roles.
Are you afraid that DJ Moore is on this team too?
No, I'm not. But
I'm just saying, again, that's a lot of mouths to feed. And not that, I mean, Rome's the vet coming into it at this point. Yeah. So I will give him the nod over those other two guys, especially because they let go of Keenan. You're right. They play the same role. I just don't. I wouldn't say he's necessarily a winner. I would put him at neutral. Like, I don't see after the draft and be like, you know what? That Bears player is.
Well, I'm also this is necessarily winners and losers of the offseason.
Well, okay. Not draft, of free agents.
Well, I'm just saying because they also bring in Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
So I see him. That's a win.
Sure.
I mean, for sure. That's a win. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe he's not the biggest winner, but I think the moves that they've made have made me in on it this year.
I will say this. So I'll put it right down the middle because I think there's two things on both sides. I think there's two positives, two negatives. The two negatives are clearly they wanted offensive firepower the first two picks. Well, they had.
Sure.
I feel like every time on the draft, the Bears were picking. The Bears and Browns had 900,000 picks in this draft. But with two super high picks, they go weapon. So that's a negative. But the positives is Ben Johnson, a.k.a. the team's going to be better. And so that itself is a positive. It's just the Bears are going to be a better team. And I think they were handicapped by one, lack of run game, which did the Bears take a running back at all? Not at all. Is it still just Swift?
I think they might have taken like a really, really late round running back.
They revamped the O line, so Caleb Williams is going to have more time. He's not going to take the third most sacks of all time. Did you realize that?
No, that's
Trivia
kind of crazy.
question: how many sacks do you think uh, Caleb Williams took last year? And keep in mind, 17 games. He started all 17.
67.
Damn, that's insanely close. But it was 59.
Okay.
17 games.
I know.
And that's 59 sacks. I don't. That's if you're. I mean, quick math, but that. Let's see. Quick.
Well, I'm pretty sure like the record. I kind of knew like
sacks
ballpark what the record was.
How many games do you think that you would win, or if you're watching your team or you get pissed off if you see your quarterback get sacked an average of 3.5 times per game? Is that not just like infuriating?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's insane.
So I think that the O-line is going to be much, much better. Caleb will take a next step. So I was optimistic going into the year for two reasons, but like those two things, like can they be a positive because they are helping the offense get better as a whole as well? Sure, but that's why I say I'd put it right down the middle.
So far in his career, to me, is almost history is almost repeating itself with Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion. The generational talent quarterback comes in, gets drafted #1 overall. The team tries to bring in vets to surround the player, but the vets just aren't good enough, and then they go back to rebuilding. But the difference is that Trevor Lawrence, I don't think ever showed the promise that Caleb Williams has already showed.
Well, I mean that's crazy. Trevor Lawrence, I think, would have been drafted ahead of Caleb Williams if they were in the same draft class.
Yeah, from their college tape for sure. But I think if you look at both their rookie seasons, I think
you're saying once they got to the pros.
Yes. Yeah, I'm saying that Caleb Williams had probably a very similar season to Trevor Lawrence, but he was actually making plays where I was like, oh, that's special. Whereas Trevor Lawrence has just never done that.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. Caleb Williams is just more flashy, more wow plays.
Yeah,
which depends on what you want in a quarterback. You want someone who's going to get the ball to where it's supposed to be on time, or
I guess I'm just bullish on the fact that like I actually think that he could like take it to the next level.
Yeah,
not just improve on what he was already doing, but like be one of the guys in the league. I think he has the potential.
No, for
sure, especially with Ben Johnson. So,
all right, on to the next.
All right, loser alert. Najee Harris. It's pretty obvious. Yeah. Omarion Hampton. They drafted Omarion Hampton and Trey Harris. And also, I just saw a report today, or it was a video of John Harbaugh saying that he wants to he said he had an epiphany, and his goal is to make Justin Herbert a Hall of Fame quarterback.
I mean...
And the moves they've made in this offseason tell me, in the way that they ran the offense through the last half of last season, I think Jim Harbaugh is coming out of his old ways of football.
Oh, yeah?
I think he's going to air it out this season, truthfully. And so I think that will hurt Najee Harris in turn. I mean, on top of also bringing in a
first round running back. First round running back, 21 overall.
Yeah, first round running back. So, as good as Najee Harris may still be, for an NFL running back, of course, like, yeah, whatever, he's not good for fantasy. He's a good running back. As good as he is, you bring in a first round running back, the fan base is going to eat you alive if you're letting Najee Harris get all the snaps.
Yeah, no, he's chopped. He's done.
He's probably going to literally be a backup. It's probably going to be a J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards type of.
Ironically, I was going to say
it's funny because they both went to the
Melvin Gordon, but once Eckler just took over, that he was the better back, and Melvin Gordon was just there for specific game type of plays. And Not that Eckler and Hampton play the same, quite opposite the fact, but that whole point where they're both good in their own right, but you played the better guy, and you're still gonna have a
Right.
role. But he got a decent sack of cash from the Chargers to come over there and play. He will have some value for fantasy, but he's not. He might be one of the best handcuff insurance running backs.
Yeah, if you draft Hampton early, you could probably get Najee Harris almost undrafted, honestly.
I think you can for sure get him close to, well, maybe not undrafted, but definitely close.
Late rounds, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
no, I agree.
So he's a loser for me. That one's pretty obvious, though. All right, let's go with my next winner, Tyrone Tracy.
How?
I actually just traded away Tyrone Tracy in a league, and honestly, not that I'm feeling bad about it because I got Jaden Daniels, but I do kind of miss Tracy a little bit. I thought, here we go, James Robinson 2.0, a promising running back who actually played really well, but he doesn't have any draft capital, so they're just gonna completely replace him. That didn't happen.
I mean,
They drafted Scatterboo, but they drafted him what, fifth or sixth round?
fourth round, but
Fourth round. I mean,
he wasn't. I I'm scared of Scatterboot. He's really good, and I think he will get the most valuable touches. He's the bowling ball that's going to punch it in the end zone.
here's the thing.
He's not. I mean, I don't want to touch the Giants with a 10-foot pole unless his name is Malik Neighbors.
I think that Scatterboo is he's just Tyron Tracy he has a dynamic skill set. He does it all. He can pass catch. He's shifty. He's just a overall well-rounded back. I mean, obviously he isn't a freak athlete like a Saquon or Bijan. That's why he didn't get drafted as high as he did. But he came and improved. Like, no, I'm an NFL starting running back, and I can do well in this league with the opportunity. And I just think Scatterboo's like he's not that dynamic. I mean, he's just a bowling ball.
No, I mean, I would have been terrified. He's like worst case scenario to me. Is most teams are probably out based off of a multitude of things. He's older, his type of play style, whatever. But he's also a type of player that I know he's a baller. So when it comes to camp time, when it comes to like playing, I think it's going to be hard to keep him off the field.
You know what it reminds me of? RJ Davis.
Who the hell is RJ? Oh, the Bills running back, the Kentucky guy. Yeah.
It's a very similar position we're in as we were last year. James Cook wasn't like a super highly drafted running back.
He was a second round pick.
Okay, but whatever. I'm just saying it's not like he was a first round pick. And we were scared going into the season of James Cook because we thought RJ Davis was going to get some freaking work. But he didn't because he's a bowling ball.
I just think putting James Cook and Tyrone Tracy in the same category, like James Cook. I wasn't concerned about RJ Davis coming in.
Yes, you were.
I was not. No, the reason I was out on James Cook was because he was allergic to the end zone, which all of a sudden he decided to score the most rushing touchdowns.
Because you thought RJ Davis was now going to get all the red zone attempts.
No, because, well, I thought they were going to put other backs in for the red zone attempt. It wasn't necessarily RJ Davis. They had Latavius Murray stealing his goal line touchdowns last year. 2 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, that's 2 years ago. But.
So, I don't know. I'm willing to be wrong. It's just I don't think Tyrone Tracy is. He might not even be as good as Scatterboo when it comes down to play on the field. Scatterboo had 1,700 yards last year rushing.
I'm just saying,
and another 1,000 receiving yards.
I think he's a bit of a winner because they didn't, at the very least, they didn't take a serious running back.
I mean, it could have been worse, 100%. He was in a top-tier running back destination.
I mean, for sure, they had to bring somebody in because they had nobody behind Tyron
Could
Tracy.
have been worse.
I remember Tyron Tracy getting hurt and them having.
Well, Singletary. Singletary
I
was
don't
on
think
the
Singletary was on the team.
Yeah, Singletary was on the team last year. He was the one. He was the starter. Singletary was the starter, and then Tyrone Tracy bullied his way into
Oh
that
yeah,
role.
you're right. Devin Singletary. Yeah. That just goes to show you too, though. Tyron Tracy took out Devin Singletary, who's been a solid back on several teams with a lot of other good running backs, and he took over his job.
Yeah, like, I suppose we'll see.
All right, we'll agree to disagree on that one. The next Lahu Sahur is Brian Thomas Jr.
Sorry, I was reading the sleeper chat. Brian Thomas Jr. as a loser. So
because I think he was sky high. I didn't give a crap. I was ready to draft him with my first round pick this year in redraft.
You think
and now I'm questioning it. Just the fact that I'm questioning it, you know what I mean? Like Travis Hunter, the team's already come out and said, no, we're going to use him offensively. Like that is our goal. I believe they've even said that they're going to make him a full-time offensive player and bring him in on packages on defense.
Which I think is ass backwards, if you ask me personally.
It is ass backwards. But, it definitely is. I don't see how it's going to work. But that's what the team has said. And if that's true, I mean, Travis Hunter is... I mean, he got drafted as a wide receiver, and he's got talent. He's got a talent level up there with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
you bring him on this team.
It's tough when I feel like. So, who do you think Brian Thomas is? Do you think it's a 1A, 1B situation?
Yes, but I'm just saying one of them is going to be the T. Higgins or Jordan Addison. It's one of them has to be, and we don't know who. And it's probably going to be Travis Hunter. He's probably going to be the 1B this year, but you don't know, and it's like a toss up.
Yeah, and then okay, so
you don't want to take a 1B with your first pick.
This is how. So these are my tiers when it comes to like wide receiver 1 and 2s on teams.
Okay.
Are they actually an elite receiver? If the answer is yes, then take them. Step 2. Is the competition that's on your team as good as you? Yes or no? If yes, move down to here. Now, this is where we're at with Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. Is the team you're on good enough to support excellence from both of you? That is the question. They can both be good.
What do you think? I'd say no. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is good enough to. At least I think they're both going to be good, but I don't think he is going to give them the ceiling of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I don't think you're going to be able to get 2 top 10 wide receivers out of them. I think you could get a top 10 wide receiver and a top 20.
This is just such a unique situation because we don't really know what position this guy plays. So if he is a full-time wide receiver, he is like the guy going to play 96% of snaps for them. I mean, I don't think it's unrealistic or unreasonable to move Brian Thomas Jr. down. But again, does having that extra weapon where it's just not Brian Thomas Jr. and freaking Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk, does that just make the team better, the offense better, and lift him up? Like just how I mentioned with whoever that was that I was talking about. It's tough. It's worth a conversation for sure. I just don't know if, based on what he did last year, the archetype of player he is, if it's going to be good enough to knock him off of people's end of first, second round pick to be a cornerstone. Because I'm cool. Again, my litmus test, if I go into this draft and Brian Thomas Jr. ends up having to be my wide receiver 1, my heart tells me then that I'm cool. I'm good. I don't know about you.
Okay.
So what say you about
Let's
Travis Hunter then? What if you flip-flop? Here, real quick. I like this exercise. Flip-flop Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Is that realistic?
What do you mean? Like
in
draft position?
ADP, yeah.
Then I think Brian Thomas would be a steal.
So by then you're just telling me that you default think Brian Thomas Jr. is a better pick than Travis Hunter.
Yes,
like a better player.
I don't know. I think they're probably.
I'm saying if
honestly, I think they're about the same.
So if they're about the
Brian
same,
Thomas is.
You would be comfortable with the first or second round Travis Hunter then?
No, because I think they're about the same talent, but I don't think that on the same team they can put up that level of production. So basically, I'm saying that.
So where do you think
Brian
Travis Hunter
Thomas
goes?
going in the beginning of the second round, if not late first, is way too high at this point. With the risk of him being the T. Higgins, because you are not taking T. Higgins with your first round pick.
No, but he's a second round pick.
That's my issue.
T. Higgins is a second round pick.
He went at the 305 in our draft, and that's with all the running backs still really far down.
Well, that's true. He went higher than the 305, didn't he? I don't know. Did I just make a new one?
In this mock that I'm looking at right now, he went 3.5.
Well, the one I just did earlier. I mean,
but that's still
he went 208.
That's with running backs like Bucky Irving, Christian McCaffrey, Kyron, all those guys in the 4th round, which is not.
I mean, sure.
T. Higgins will be like a 4th or 5th. That's where he's been every year. It's where he'll be this year.
He didn't even go. Yeah, it's worth a thought, and I think from everything that I've seen is everyone's just quick to brush it off. Like, yeah, not worried about it. Brian Thomas Jr. is great. Don't even think about it. But I think it should be a more interesting conversation than it might be at this time.
I think it's something I'll monitor closely because, I mean, like I said, he's going to be your first or second pick.
One more thought process on this, and then we'll move on. But where do you think Travis Hunter's final ADP is? Say the teams come out and say he's a full-time receiver, just like you said, we'll throw him in on defense. Mind you, Marvin Harrison Jr. went in the 1st round, and he was number 4 pick. Travis Hunter was the number 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah, but he got drafted that. Yeah.
Again, it's a nuanced situation. We've never seen it before.
I think that many people are going to say Brian Thomas is the truth and Travis Hunter is a cornerback, because I don't think that most fantasy football players are going to acknowledge the fact that Travis Hunter is like a legit wide receiver, like arguably a better wide receiver than he was cornerback. And so I think that people are going to discount him at wide receiver, and he's going to fall to about the 4th or 5th.
Yeah, 4th or 5th round.
But that's what I'm saying is that flip-flop him. I think Travis Hunter's going to be a steal if he falls to 4th or 5th, if I'm right.
Yeah.
And it's just like you could get it wrong. You could draft Brian Thomas in the 1st, but it's Travis Hunter.
Yeah, but you could also draft. I mean, I'm thinking more so at Travis Hunter at this point. You could grab Travis Hunter in the 4th round, and he plays 50% of offensive snaps, and because they're using him as a football player, he's like there when you need it, whatever. Then
sure,
I would be so. I mean, 50% of offensive snaps is a full-time offensive player. Like that would he would be a full-time.
They've already come out and said that he's.
But I'm saying for fantasy, especially for me, opportunity is king. And if I want a guy who's on the field every single snap, and if there's a possibility that he is capped at 75% because he's catching breathers because he's playing 25% on defense, I don't know. It's separate from the Brian Thomas Jr. conversation. I was just
It's just tough because even if he is off the field, it could be the fact that when he's on the field, it's his. If he ends up being a better wide receiver than Brian Thomas, when he's on the field, it's all him.
yeah.
And we actually saw that with somebody. Oh, man, who was that?
I don't know, my man.
Shoot. No, never mind. I remember there was a wide receiver that used to come off the field and whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. I think we should
Is this your last one?
Situation and we'll talk about it.
We're at an hour and 25 minutes.
This is the last one.
Hopefully it's the last one.
And then I have an honorable mention.
All right.
My next winner is Rashee Rice.
I'm very curious your thought process behind winners and losers. I'm viewing a lot of the people you're mentioning as just like neutral. Like nothing good happened, nothing
honestly,
bad happened.
It is. The winners are usually people who just didn't have anything bad happen to them.
Well, which is
the winners. I mean, if you look at the people that
like, if you said a winner is Caleb Williams, I'd have been like, abso-freaking-lutely. Like,
well, okay, but
like proactive
the way I
things that
is each three of my winners or each of my winners, Tyrone, and Rashee Rice. They're all players who were just good last year, and not much has changed for them going into the season. So I view them as winners.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're all three players that could have had drastic setbacks this year.
I mean, I think Rashee Rice comes into a worse situation this year than he did last year. Because
okay, let me just go through it. I think that they didn't draft any wide receivers that were.
They drafted Jalen Royals.
Jalen Royals, whatever. I don't think he's. I think that was a depth move.
Yeah, he's a
he'll probably come in as the third wide receiver.
But yeah,
sure, but I don't think it's going to affect Rashee. But I think that's a win. I think that they could have been like, "Hey guys, we finally need to draft a wide receiver high."
Yeah.
Or I guess hit on one because they have drafted wide receiver side, and they didn't. Like if they had drafted Luther Burden, I actually think that could have eaten into Rashee Rice because I think they're like
sure.
They're not like the same archetype player, but I do think that they would have shared a similar role.
I mean, I don't disagree that Rashee Rice, if they took Burden, that wouldn't have been bad for Rice. So
also, any news that I've seen so far, they're expecting for his suspension to not be in effect for another year. And I've seen that on a lot of different shows.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's
it could not be true, but also honestly, with how good he was looking to be this last year, he's what you said he's going in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah,
and they're expecting when he does get a suspension, it's going to be like 4 games.
Yeah, just
so
to me,
I mean,
4th round is high for someone who's going to miss games. But if it does come this year,
well, I'm just saying it. If he's going to give, if I said Rashee Rice is going to do exactly what he did at the beginning of last season, but he's going to miss 4 games, you're going to draft him there because it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Zeke back in the day with Zeke's suspension. We're still drafting him in the 2nd round.
I'll go. I mean, because I have some thoughts on Rashee Rice and on his like winnings or losings of.
Another win was that, as I mentioned earlier, it seems like his comeback from injury is going extremely well because he's already running full speed routes. Like he's already practicing as normal. He's not practicing off on the side or wearing a protective. Well, I don't think they're hitting anyways, but whatever. He's not rehabbing. He is like already trying to get better as a player and not as a person who's injured.
Yeah, I just looked as you were explaining. I looked where Rashee Rice, because Rashee Rice had this suspension stuff coming his way before this season started. This was off season,
Yeah.
whatever. I drafted Rashi Rice about slightly past ADP. Like he fell just a little bit further, but nothing crazy. I drafted him in the 8th round, pick 77. He was an 8th round pick with the suspension stuff looming. But the reason I say his situation is worse now than it was before is you had a rookie, Xavier Worthy, coming in fresh. He was a potential to take some shine, but, he's a fresh rookie. And Hollywood Brown was on the team, but he was on the pup. He wasn't playing. So Rashi Rice came into everything plus Travis Kelce. And that was I started him. He was incredible. He was a volume king. He had like 14 targets, 10 receptions, 120 yards and a touchdown in the game. I was stoked. And now the reason I say his situation is worse is you have Xavier Worthy, who started to break out towards the end of the year. Hollywood Brown is fully healthy now and able to play. And he's coming off a ACL injury, which, again,
LCL.
Whatever. His knee got pushed in backwards. But I'm just saying those specific things I think makes this situation worse than last year. Is he a winner that they didn't take a high profile weapon? Sure, but that's just where my classification would go. Is like
my classification was just the fact that like it seems as though the injury is not an issue.
Yeah.
If he's already running, I mean, he still has plenty of time to get healthy, and if he's already somewhat healthy.
So is he a smash pick for you in the 4th round?
Yeah.
Right now.
I think if we could get solidified news,
if he's fully healthy, they say he's a full go, no suspension,
and then I think he should go in the 2nd. I think Xavier Worthy, I wouldn't call what he did a breakout. And I think Xavier Worthy, with Rashi Rice going down, no Hollywood Brown, he had all the opportunity in the world. It's not like most rookies where he has good wide receivers in front of him and then, they work him in. It's like, no, he had all the opportunity from week 4 on, and he really did nothing.
Yeah, I mean...
and I do think he's a good player, but I think he's going to play his role. And it's not a possession receiver. It's the big play. He's going to be the Henry Ruggs or McCole Hardman or Josh Downs, like...
And I get that too.
I don't think he's going to really affect Rashi Rice's production because Patrick Mahomes can throw for 5,000 yards. So I'm not really scared. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Like I said, I think it's just more neutral.
And also, Hollywood Brown is. I don't give a fuck about Hollywood Brown.
He came on, and once he started playing, he was involved. He was a good player for them. But this was more like end of season playoff time. He was irrelevant for fantasy, so no one was probably really paying attention to him for that. But he was there.
I guess that's why I don't give Worthy credit to. Is I give that credit to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
because that's what he does. He's going to make the team
Rice is going to be bad
in the playoffs.
We're saying the same thing, just different criteria for the offseason, a winner or a loser.
Oh, for sure.
But. All right, run off your honorable mention. I got to piss like a racehorse, so let's shut this thing down.
All right, so I'll take as long as I
Well, then you can shut this thing down yourself, and I will go happily pee.
My honorable mention is Keon Coleman, and we already talked about it.
Wait, for winner or loser?
Winner.
Yeah, I think he's a huge winner.
Yeah, the fact they didn't even draft. I don't think they drafted wide receiver.
I don't think so at all.
And so I think he's a massive winner because he gets a do-over.
Yeah, and this is different than my definition of Rashi Rice coming into the season as being in a worse situation than before. I think it's the exact same situation, except now he's a year older, a year better, a year with Josh Allen. So he's didn't have anything negative happen, and it's been a positive that he's had a year in the system, a year to learn, healthy as far as I know.
Yeah.
And
instead of a year learning how to be an NFL player, now he already knows how to be an NFL player, and he can go into the offseason just learn to get better.
And
he doesn't have to worry about all the...
We don't need more receivers from the GM. That glowing sentiment. But all right, episode 2 down, hour and a half in. It's a good time. We got some more off-season stuff coming. We're going to continue to improve our scheduling, our graphics, our Instagram, our content, more creativity. Season 2 is going to be fun, and we're just getting started.
Yeah. We're hoping Keon Coleman can make the jump we did.
Yes, absolutely. We glow up, baby. All right, I got to go pee. Don't miss the last call for fantasy football. Deuces.